Have you ever considered that a simple act like sprinkling salt on your shoes could transform your day? It might sound strange, almost superstitious, but stay with me. This idea isn't just a quirky morning routine. It carries layers of meaning, tracing back through cultural wisdom, real-life experiences, and even teachings embedded within the Islamic tradition. Salt, this basic common substance, has played a powerful role in history, healing, and even spirituality. In today's video, we'll uncover what happens when you sprinkle salt on your shoes every morning. We'll explore what Islamic teachings say about small, mindful acts like this one. We'll dive into powerful stories, from modern lives to timeless Quranic lessons, that show how the simplest routines can set the tone for miracles. Before we explore further, pause for a moment. Think about your own morning rituals. Do they prepare you to face the world with peace, purpose, and protection? Or are they rushed, reactive, and routine? What if there's wisdom in starting your day grounded, physically and spiritually? What if something as small as this habit could become a daily shield, a way to anchor yourself before stepping into the chaos of life? Let's begin by looking deeper into what this practice means and why you might want to consider it, not for magic, but for meaning. Do you have a personal morning ritual that gives your day spiritual or emotional direction? Share it. We'd love to hear what centers and empowers you every morning. The symbolism of salt in Islamic teachings. In the rich and layered tradition of Islam, even the most ordinary items carry profound symbolic and spiritual meaning. Salt is one such substance. Humble, inexpensive, and found in every home, it's easy to overlook. Yet it appears not only in our kitchens, but also in our religious texts and cultural heritage. One powerful hadith stands out. Let one of you ask his Lord for his needs, even if it is for salt. Sunan al-Tirmidhi, Book of Supplications. This statement from the Prophet Muhammad may seem deceptively simple. Why mention something as basic as salt? But that's precisely the point. Interpretation and spiritual insight. Salt here becomes symbolic of the small things we often take for granted. The Prophet wasn't just telling us to ask Allah for our most urgent or dramatic needs. He was teaching us that nothing is too trivial to bring to our Creator. In fact, the very essence of our relationship with Allah is found in this intimacy, in turning to Him not just in crisis, but in the everyday. By encouraging us to ask even for salt, the Prophet, peace be upon him, emphasized total reliance, tawakkul, on Allah, mindfulness of our dependence on Him for all provisions, the value of gratitude for even the smallest blessings. This small hadith, just a handful of words, contains a universe of wisdom. Salt in daily life. Across cultures, throughout history, and in many cultures, salt has been seen as a symbol of purity, preservation, and protection. In the Middle East and South Asia, salt has been used in protective rituals, placing it at doorways, using it to remove the evil eye, and sprinkling it in shoes or corners of the home. While Islam separates spiritual truth from superstition, it also embraces meaning when combined with intention and supplication. When Muslims use salt today, whether in food or other symbolic ways, it can serve as a reminder of Allah's provision. It becomes a small opportunity to practice dhikr, remembrance, gratitude, and dua. Real story. Syria, 2023. Salt amid scarcity. During the humanitarian crisis in northern Syria in 2023, displaced families in makeshift camps were reported using salt not just to preserve food, but also to spiritually protect their space and children. One mother was quoted saying, "Salt is all we have left, but I ask Allah even for that. It reminds me that He hears everything, even this." In such desperation, The Hadith above comes alive. Faith isn't only about grand gestures. It's in survival, in asking for even the basics. So here's a powerful way to start your day. Before stepping out, make a short, heartfelt dua. Even if it's just, Ya Allah, bless my steps today, keep me away from harm and guide me toward what is good. Or simply, Ya Allah, give me what I need, even the small things. Start your day by seeking Allah's blessings, even in the smallest tasks. Make dua as natural as breathing. Put your shoes on with remembrance. Ask Him even for salt. Now we want to hear from you. What's the smallest thing you've ever asked Allah for and seen answered? Drop your story in the comments. You might inspire someone else to start speaking to their Creator more often and more intimately. The practice of sprinkling salt on shoes. You may have heard of people sprinkling salt at their doorstep, placing it in corners of a room, or even putting it inside shoes before stepping outside. These acts may sound like folklore, but they stem from deep cultural practices aimed at protection, purification, and spiritual awareness. Historical context. Across centuries and civilizations, salt has been viewed as a sacred element. In ancient Rome, salt was offered to gods during sacrifices. In African, Middle Eastern, and South Asian traditions, it is used to ward off negative energy or the evil eye, often sprinkled around a person or in shoes before major events, travel, or battles. Among Arabs and Indo-Pakistani Muslims, some families continue the practice of placing a pinch of salt in the shoe before important events, like exams, interviews, or long journeys, not out of superstition, but as a symbolic shield, invoking protection and focus. Even in Islamic societies where practices must align with Tawheed, belief in the oneness of Allah, these symbolic acts become meaningful when they are accompanied by dua, remembrance, and righteous intention, not blind ritual. Spiritual perspective. So why salt in the shoes? Shoes are what connect you to the earth. They carry you through your life's journey, through hardship and ease. By placing salt in them, even symbolically, you are saying, may my steps be preserved, my path purified, and my journey protected. Salt, in this sense, becomes a spiritual metaphor. It's not the salt that protects you, Allah does, but the action becomes a reminder, a trigger for intention, and an invitation to begin the day with spiritual mindfulness. This is similar to how we recite specific du'as before eating, entering the bathroom, or stepping out of the home. The form may vary, but the heart of it is mindful submission to Allah. Modern example, Palestine, 2024. In early 2024, a young woman in Gaza, displaced yet still teaching children in tents, shared a habit on social media that went viral. Before stepping into the rubble each morning, she placed salt in her shoes and recited Surah Al-Falaq. Her words, "It's not superstition. It reminds me every morning to walk humbly, carefully, and prayerfully. That's how I survive." This wasn't magic. It was mindset, faith, and resilience. Rituals have power, not because they're mystical, but because they help us build habits that nourish our spirit. You don't need salt to feel protected, but you do need reminders. Consider integrating symbolic acts that reinforce your spiritual intentions each morning. Maybe it's sprinkling salt. Maybe it's pausing before your first step to say Bismillah. Maybe it's reciting a short dua as you tie your laces. Whatever it is, make it meaningful. Have you ever used a symbolic ritual to help you feel spiritually grounded before facing the world? Tell us in the comments. What's your personal way of salting your path? Real life story. Michael Jordan's childhood ritual. Before Michael Jordan became a global icon, before the championship rings, sneaker empire, and highlight reels, he was a 10-year-old kid who felt too short to make his school basketball team. In the children's book, Salt in His Shoes, written by his mother Dolores Jordan, we learn a touching story of young Michael's insecurity about his height. He was frustrated, feeling too small to compete with taller kids on the court. One day, he told his mother that he wished he were taller. Her advice? Put some salt in your shoes and say a prayer every night. So he did. For months, Michael sprinkled salt into his shoes and prayed faithfully, hoping to grow taller. But something unexpected happened. He didn't just grow physically. He grew in patience, discipline, and determination. He started practicing harder, focusing more, and believing in himself. Eventually, yes, he grew taller. But more importantly, he grew up. The lesson, this story, isn't about magical salt. It's about the unseen power of small rituals when they're combined with intention, faith, and effort. Michael's mother wasn't giving him superstition. She was giving him a habit, a mindset, and a prayer. The salt was a symbol. The prayer was faith. The daily practice was action. This mirrors the Islamic principle of tie your camel and trust in Allah. Do what you can, and leave the results to your Creator. Don't underestimate the impact of consistent, faith-based habits. Whether it's a whispered dua before work, writing down your goals, or even sprinkling salt in your shoes as a personal anchor, your rituals shape your reality. Let this story inspire you to combine faith with action in pursuing your aspirations. Have you ever done something small, something symbolic, that gave you strength or focus? You never know. Your childhood ritual or quiet prayer might inspire someone else to keep going. Quranic story, Prophet Moses and Al-Khidr. One of the most mysterious and profound stories in the Quran is the encounter between Prophet Musa, Moses, and Al-Khidr, a servant of Allah endowed with divine knowledge. Surah Al-Kahf, 1860-82, tells us that Musa, a prophet of unmatched stature, sought to learn from someone more knowledgeable. Allah directed him to Al-Khidr, and so began a journey that would test Musa's patience and challenge his understanding of divine wisdom. 3 events, 3 lessons. As they traveled together, Al-Khidr performed 3 seemingly inexplicable acts. He damaged a boat belonging to poor fishermen. He killed a young boy. He repaired a wall in a town that refused to offer them hospitality. Each time, Musa protested, unable to see the justice in these actions. But Al-Khidr told him to be patient and not question what he didn't yet understand. At the end, Al-Khidr explained, "The boat belonged to poor men who made a living from it. A tyrant king was seizing all good ships. By damaging it slightly, he saved it from confiscation." The boy would have grown to bring grief and rebellion to his righteous parents. Allah intended to replace him with one pure and better. The wall concealed treasure that belonged to 2 orphan boys. Their father was righteous, and Allah wanted to preserve it until they were older. The deeper message. This story is not just about Prophet Musa's journey, it's about your journey too. How often do we question the challenges in our lives? Why didn't I get that job? Why did my relationship fail? Why do I keep struggling? The story of Al-Khidr reminds us, sometimes Allah breaks your boat so you don't drown. We may not see the wisdom now, but Allah sees the full picture. What looks like a setback could be a setup for something greater. Real life connection. Sudan, 2024. In early 2024, a Sudanese engineer lost his job in a civil construction firm amid political unrest. What felt like devastation turned into redirection. Within months, he started a community-run water project in a refugee area, now saving hundreds of lives. He said, "I didn't realize losing my job was Allah's way of repositioning me for service." It echoed the story of the damaged boat, loss as protection. In our world, full of uncertainty and unseen tests, we must train ourselves to walk with faith, not just sight. Embrace the unknown with faith, knowing that every step is guided by divine wisdom. Trust isn't passive, it's a choice. It's waking up every day and saying, Ya Allah, I don't know where this path leads, but I know you do. Have you ever experienced a hardship that didn't make sense until later, when you saw the wisdom behind it? Share your story in the comments. It might remind someone else that their storm is not random. It's designed with divine care. The importance of footwear in Islamic tradition. In Islam, even the most routine actions carry potential for immense reward, if done with the right intention and awareness. One such simple act is putting on your shoes. Sunnah practices of footwear. The Prophet Muhammad taught etiquette even in the smallest matters. When it comes to wearing shoes, he said, "When one of you puts on his shoes, let him start with the right, and when he takes them off, let him start with the left." Sahih al-Bukhari, 5855. This might seem minor, but in the prophetic tradition, order, balance, and intention matter deeply. Starting with the right side is part of the broader sunnah of honoring the right, something practiced in eating, dressing, and entering places. Why the emphasis? Because these teachings train us in mindfulness, in presence, and in the art of turning the ordinary into worship. Spiritual insight. Imagine this. You wake up in a rush. You throw on your shoes, grab your bag, and run out the door. That's one way to start your day. But now imagine this instead. You pause, say Bismillah, and as you put on your right shoe first, you remember that this is how the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to do it. Suddenly, you're not just dressing, you're practicing Sunnah. You're connected to something eternal. Your act becomes an act of ibadah, worship. This is the Islamic way, bringing sacred meaning to every step, every habit, every shoe. Example, Indonesia, 2023. In a Jakarta school in 2023, teachers began a campaign to teach children Sunnah habits, starting with how they wear their shoes. Within months, teachers noted that kids were more mindful and emotionally calmer when they began their day intentionally. The campaign was titled, "Walk like the Prophet." This proves that even modern children, with the distractions of technology, can benefit from ancient prophetic wisdom, starting from the ground up. Don't underestimate your smallest habits. From the way you tie your shoes to the foot you step out with, each action can be transformed. Transform daily habits into spiritual practices by aligning them with prophetic traditions. Do you have a small Sunnah habit that has changed the way you live your day? Tell us in the comments. Your daily act of worship might be the inspiration someone else needs. Modern-day application and testimonies. In a fast-paced world filled with distraction, anxiety, and burnout, more and more people are rediscovering the power of spiritual morning routines, grounding practices that help begin the day with clarity, peace, and direction. Contemporary stories of transformation. Take the story of Amina, a nurse in Cairo working overnight shifts in a chaotic ER. After a period of burnout and anxiety, she began a simple morning practice before every shift, reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times while putting on her shoes and making a short dua for strength. "That 30 seconds changed my whole day," she said. "It's not about the words. It's about remembering that I don't walk alone." Or consider Rafiq, a college student in Toronto battling depression during exam season. Inspired by Islamic teachings, he began waking up 10 minutes earlier to pray Fajr and sit quietly for 5 minutes of dhikr. "It's like my soul gets dressed before my body does," he reflected. These are ordinary people, no mystical powers, no elaborate rituals, just a few moments of spiritual mindfulness anchoring the start of each day. Scientific correlation. Why routines work. Modern science backs this up. Studies in psychology and neuroscience show that Morning routines reduce cortisol, stress hormone, and improve focus. Starting the day with intention boosts dopamine, motivation hormone. Mindfulness practices, even for a few minutes, have been proven to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. When faith is added to this formula, du'as, dhikr, gratitude, rituals, the result is not just peace, but purpose. Your routine becomes an act of spiritual alignment. Faith plus structure equals transformation. Islam has long encouraged these habits. The Prophet started his days with prayer, fresh wudu, remembrance, and mindful intention. That wasn't just worship, it was daily alignment. You don't need an elaborate schedule, just a small act done with sincerity. Begin each day with intention and purpose, setting a positive tone for what lies ahead. Whether it's sprinkling salt in your shoes, saying a short dua, reciting a verse, sitting in quiet reflection after Fajr, make it yours. Make it sacred. Do you have a morning ritual that gives your day meaning or peace? Share it in the comments. Let's build a community of people who start their days with soul. Conclusion and call to action. We've journeyed through stories both ancient and modern, from the symbolic use of salt in tradition, to Michael Jordan's childhood prayers, to the profound wisdom in the story of Prophet Musa and Al-Khidr. We've explored how Islamic teachings give meaning to even the smallest habits, like putting on your shoes, and how intentional morning rituals can transform your mindset, your spirit, and your life. The message is simple but powerful. Sunrise, start your day with purpose. Whether it's a dua, a small sunnah, or even a symbolic gesture like sprinkling salt, align your actions with your faith. It's not about superstition. It's about remembrance, discipline, and walking each day with the awareness that Allah is guiding your steps. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you incorporated any spiritual practices into your daily routine? Share your experiences in the comments below. You might just inspire someone who's searching for meaning in the chaos of their mornings. If this video touched your heart or made you think differently about your day, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We explore how to live your faith intentionally every single day. One habit, one dua, one step at a time. Until next time, may your mornings be mindful, your footsteps guided, and your heart at peace. We don't want this video to be a one-way conversation. Your voice, your habits, and your stories matter. Here are a few reflective questions to get the discussion started. What morning rituals help you stay spiritually grounded? Maybe it's a specific dua, a recitation after Fajr, or even just taking a deep breath and saying Alhamdulillah before the day begins. Have you ever tried incorporating symbolic acts into your daily routine? What was the impact? Have you tried using tasbih, salt, written affirmations, or even sunnah-based habits to bring deeper meaning to your mornings? Why it matters? By sharing, you're not only strengthening your own awareness, you're creating a space where others can learn, grow, and feel connected through shared faith and reflection. Drop your answers in the comments below. Let's learn from one another. What works for you might be the exact inspiration someone else needs. Together, we build a virtual ummah, where faith isn't just preached, it's practiced, discussed, and lived.